So I want to start with just reviewing if you guys have any questions about the study tools that I did with the flashcards. Not that you have to use that stuff, but that's just sort of FYI. But if you do have questions with it, then please ask. It's a tool that helped me a lot in my education, decreasing my study time at the end of the day. Then I've seen a lot of you guys have been doing the quizzes. Any questions that are coming up to quiz number 1 so far? Come on.
I haven't started yet, so my plan is to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday since I'm
Oh, that was you on the text?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Good.
So I got all of my work done for 2 weeks of my other classes. So then this week and next week, just focus on you. So
Okay.
2 weeks straight of just your class.
That's good. That's good. Well, if questions come up, we can still, next week we can still go through quiz number 1 and 2 a little bit and make sure that everything is clear. Hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. Anybody else had any questions to the material? I'll be doing the first module right now. I know people are signing on, so as we start talking, they can just chime in.
So I didn't see anywhere where we would submit our score for the life assessment. Is that supposed to go somewhere?
Yes, I will go through the life assessment after we do the first quiz and the first concept questions. Have a whole little thing on that, but I want more people on the call for that. But you don't have to put a score up. There's no uploading, basically. It's going to go all through text as we do implement a few things like drinking water and walking when the weather is better, I guess, or the air, and meditating or so like that. And then we upload, we text each other that way. There's no uploading on that. I don't need to worry about knowing your score because it's more a self-reflection question versus a performance question, I think.
Okay, one question about the quiz. Are the same questions going to be on the test, or is it going to be different questions?
It's the same material, but questions are different questions. The quiz questions I made up, as you can probably tell from some of them are not quite that perfect. And the test questions are from a test bank, but it's the same material, so it's very similar. And I think the test is probably easier at the end of the, well, I shouldn't say that, but than the questions from the quiz, or at least there should be more clear. I've been using the test questions for many years, and they're usually pretty clear, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, the test will be timed, but the quizzes, and I don't know how much time I'm given yet, and the quizzes are obviously not timed, and you can repeat them and take them over and over again. It's more like a learning tool. All right, anybody else with the quiz number 1? I know people are still signing on. Any questions to the material from chapter 1?
I had a question about quiz number 1. There was a question on there about your taste turning from savory to sweet. And I watched the lecture videos and I only knew I was wrong because it said I was wrong, but I didn't see it anywhere on here.
That question came up before.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, no, I have to eat something. I was like, wait, hold up.
Yeah. So what supposedly should happen is when you look at digestion, when you look at the food breaking down, you chew the food and that breaks down the food or the sandwich. And but then you also have saliva, you have to spit. And so you have this physical breakdown by chewing. So that's they call that mechanical digestion. And then the chemical digestion is when enzymes are going on to the food and break it down, small enough breaking it down that the body then can absorb it and assimilate it into the bloodstream. And the enzyme we have in the mouth, in the saliva, is called amylase, and it digests, chemically digests the sugars. So those are the carbohydrates. So if you eat a piece of bread, that is a lot of carbohydrates, and those, when you chew it long enough, they get broken down within the mouth. And so very often then, if you go for it and you chew it 20, 30 times, the bread, even if it's savory, should turn sweet.
Oh, okay.
Because the sugar molecules get released, and then your taste bud on the tongue pick up the sugar molecule, and that tastes sweet.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was like, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, it just came up this afternoon with somebody else, so with Sonia actually, and so I might have to change that question. I'm not so sure, but it's good to talk about it, and so you can definitely you can go back and change the answer to the one that's correct.
I did. I was like,
good.
I retook the quiz after. I was like, what? Because I read the book and I was on the YouTube lectures, and I was like, what the heck? Where is this?
I probably talk about it in class. The difference is that I have lecture videos.
Yeah, I watched those. Yeah,
videos, and then I have in-class videos. And the in-class videos is actually me just talking to a class. It's before the COVID. I just did put the phone in front of me and recorded the classes. And I'm sure in there I probably talk about it.
Oh, okay. Because I only watched the first 3, the introducing to A and P ones.
Yeah, and those are all the lecture video. You see on the barcodes, you see it says either lecture video or then in class.
Oh, okay.
And the lecture are when I just speak into the computer, and the early ones I liked it with music and all that kind of weird stuff. But then
I danced to them.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's going to stop because that was way too much work after the first booklet. But the first booklet is throughout, and so those are shorter, and then they're multiple throughout the text, throughout the module. The in-class video is just a whole hour, and the whole class is covered. It's basically me talking in the class.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Good. So that's funny that question comes up. Oh.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said the lifestyle assessment. I know you mentioned it last class, but I just wanted to clarify. Are we texting you each day or per week as far as like? Yeah,
no, we got to do each day, 5 days a week, no 7 days a week. I know it's going to be a little bit of a hard one, but it's been proven to work pretty okay. I've been doing it for a couple of years. But yeah, if nobody has any questions on quiz 1 left or on chapter module 1, let's do that. Let's call that out again. And anybody has any other questions for the first module, the introduction module? Going once, twice. I guess not. So that's good. That means I did a good job. And so then let's go through the lifestyle assessment because that's the next thing I have. So if you have you guys done it, and have you guys read through the pamphlet?
Yes, it was pretty disappointing.
Yes,
Well,
I have.
About yourself or what?
Yes.
Well, I know, right? I know I'm disappointing too because I'm sitting here I'm like my posture is just like not too good. But I put that together actually for a group of nurses in San Francisco once that I was asked to do a lecture, and it came about lifestyle. And everybody's always so stressed out, and we're just running for other people and not for ourselves. And so I'm a chiropractor, and so we all talk about this lifestyle thing, even though we don't necessarily do it ourselves. But we can always improve upon it. And so when we look into things that we can change ourselves to make, and when I think about lifestyle and health, I'm really personally thinking about how do I feel today? It's like, how am I going to feel in 30 years? Yeah, that's fine. But it's also like, yeah, whatever. And then we don't really do it. But how do I feel today? And there's a few things that I can influence, and generally they go into emotional, physical, and chemical aspects. And so I listed some of those, and I break them down into 7 things that we can work on. And the first is structure. So we can sit crooked, and after an hour our neck starts hurting, or our we computerize, like we have our hands up and work on a computer like that. Why is this? Hold on. Why am I not showing? I should be showing. Oh well, too bad. Yeah, so how do I sit? How is my posture when I sit? And I have actually a home office PowerPoint that I created for school, and I will upload it at some point when I'm finished with it. So you have a few tips with all this sitting down and doing Zoom and or home office. What are the factors that make us feel good with after sitting a lot, or make us not feel good in the neck and in the low back and having bed sores on the butt and all that? So it's good to look at once in a while, check our structure and see, are we slouching, are our shoulders rounded forward, or are we sitting up straight and checked in with our body? What's our awareness with that? So that's the first section there. And then the other one, the next one, of course, is a chemical one, is like, what do we eat? If we eat only junk food, then at some point our body is not going to necessarily like that so much. If we eat a lot of stuff that we know we probably should be eating, like the greens and salads and fruits and not only, but a lot of it, a majority of it, then our body has many more nutrients it can absorb. It's like nutrient-rich foods are usually not processed foods. The more processed foods are, the more the nutrients fall to the wayside. And then, yeah, we can supplement with vitamins and with minerals and take those in pill form, but very often the body doesn't absorb them as well as if they come in the food source, in the original source. And so then, that's a place where we can grade ourselves into how are we doing. And there on the bottom, I have a food journaling in there, and we'll actually do an exercise. And later on, when we talk about digestion, where for a week long, we do a little bit of food journaling and just gain a little awareness of food. And I put that in there because when we want to go dieting and count the calories, very often that's just a punishing thing, and that doesn't really seem to be working. What seems to be working much more is when we tie the food that we eat, or when we eat, and how much and what we eat to our emotional life and to our surroundings. And so that's what food journaling is much more about. And on the bottom on page 2 on that pamphlet, I put a little barcode up that actually has a cookbook in it, and that's a whole 100 and so odd cookbook. So in case you really want to go for it, it's good stuff in there. And then, of course, the other thing is the water. How much water we drink is very important. And I see myself go, this morning I was so sore, and then I realized in my muscles when I was waking up, and I realized I hardly drank any water yesterday. I just drank apple cider, and that was not so good for my muscles. They didn't like that too much. Or too much coffee, like that can make muscles sore. Of course, I'm 50 now, so you guys are all young, so you probably don't feel that too much yet. But at some point, it will catch up. Watch out. But drinking water is definitely part of that scenario, and one of the best ways of not doing a fast, but cleansing the body. They have to give all these cleansing pills that you can buy, but and that's fine. But one of the best ways of cleansing a body is actually drinking water. And so that's what I wanted you to grade yourself on. And then the next one was digestion. And digestion, it's important how, just hearing some of my patients is, they poop once a week. It's like, what? That's not good enough. And that's definitely a digestion problem. So there we're going to talk about fiber when we talk about the nutrition class. But, what do you eat in terms of when you look at how you see your digestion? That's very important, because if our gut's not doing well, guess what? 70% of the immune system is in the gut. And so that's very important to have good immunity to possibly improve our diet, or at least supplement it with some fiber pills or so that our gut flushes through. The other thing that's very interesting is a bigger portion of our brain. Well, hold on. When we look at the brain, we had a forebrain where we do the thinking, that's active, that's like the consciousness. Then we have a brain that's a little deeper, that's the real brain where our body functions are taken care of, our emotions take care of, and so forth. And then we have a brain in the gut. And the brain in the gut has many more connections to the bigger brain than the forebrain has to the bigger brain. And so that's where, you know, when people talk about, hey, make your decisions based on your gut, then that's actually true. If we have a good gut feeling of something, we're actually making often better decisions if we're just trying to think and think and think and think about it. Because the brain is very nifty. All of a sudden, it's going to give us what we want, and then we make an argument for it that it should be so. So that's where digestion comes in. And then the next topic there is hormones, and that's maybe a little more difficult to understand, but hormones is, hi, my brat. Hormones has a lot to do with how we feel, and a lot with the hormones, how we can help them regulate is by working on eating good fats. And that's an important piece because fats in our life are considered bad, but fats are actually not bad. The brain is mainly made out of fat. So if you don't eat any avocados or any good fats, then, you know, or oils, then our brains is starving of them. So we have to rethink a little bit of what medicine and what society has told us about fats. And again, you can rate yourself on that. How is your energy level and all that sort of stuff. And then a fifth aspect is exercise. And who knew exercise is actually helpful? And it doesn't have to be running a marathon, but just taking a walk, and that's part of the exercise we're going to do, will, you know, increase your stamina, help you sleeping better. The whole list there, help the thinking, make us, of course, lose some weight if we want to do that, and make us stronger. And on the bottom there, the first barcode that I have here, where is my barcodes? The first one here, yeah, is a podcast that is pretty good that I like. It's a 16-minute long podcast that if you want to listen to it, scan that and gives you some ideas about exercise and stuff. Somebody's not quite on mute. Make sure you unmute. And then the sixth topic that comes up now, the emotional stuff is that's stress. And, you know, obviously our society is a high stress society. And what we can do though is we can think is, what is my stress? What is the internal stress that I'm creating? You know, am I on the phone all the time at my text notifications for Facebook and for Instagram? They always pop up and I always have to look at it. That's very stressful, as for example. Or how do I deal with traffic? Of course, sometimes we just lose it. I lose it sometimes a lot. But as a society, we're very stressed out. And so working on de-stressing ourselves a little bit is a good thing. And that simply could mean listening to some nice music that makes us calm down, that makes us feel happy. Or going to nature, well, if the smoke is not so strong, but going to nature and walk around a little bit. Or of course, down there on the wheel, you see meditation. But what we think is very, very important of what our reality is. So I want you to grade yourself on stress. And I think mine right now, well, never mind. That's my own thoughts. And then, yeah, thoughts is the last one that I put there, because how we think about something is very influential. There is a story that the Buddhists bring in, and they talk about it, two darts. And one dart is what happens to you that pokes you, you know, the shooting the darts. And that's like you're twisting your ankle. And it's like, well, you're twisting your ankle. It's going to hurt. You can't really do it. It just happened. But the second dart is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to bitch yourself out and be like, oh, what? And be really on your case that you're bad and so forth? Or are you saying like, oh, well, I twist my ankle once in a while. Shit happens. Too bad. That's a very different way of thinking. And then the stress that creates inside the body is a very, very different stress. And what I also think is very interesting with thoughts is the link between, you know, expectations. What's the expectations that we have of ourselves and of others as well? And then that goes into depression. That works with that depression thing as well. So if we don't have too high of expectations, then generally speaking, people are actually in a happier space than if we're thinking everything has to work perfect. And if it doesn't, it's like, damn, it doesn't work perfect. And that, you know, is hard on our body, ultimately. I put some interesting podcasts there and some things on the side for thoughts and for stress. if nothing else, you gotta definitely go and listen to this. This is Tina Turner singing a gospel. And I don't know, I'm sure you guys know Tina Turner at this point still, right? Even the young ones. But some of those are interesting talks that I've listened to. There's some TED Talks. Oh yeah, talking about TED Talks. Has anybody checked out the TED Talks in the back of the booklet yet? Good. I used to bring them into class, but now we're not in class, and there's no point of me just putting a TED Talk up and you're all listening to 10, 15 minutes. But those are my favorites. All of those in the back of the booklets are my favorites. So once you grade yourself and you give yourself a score, then it comes to changing the habits or changing some habits. And what's interesting in that is the science of habit and science of routines. Habits are routines. And they say about 80% of our life is basically habitual. It's basically automatic routines. And one thing I found very, very interesting is when they look at high functioning individuals, they're actually working out of routines. And the more a routine is automated, the more we don't have to think about. That gives our brain more space to think about other things, and of course then be high functioning. Then if the routines always change and we always consciously think about what we want to do now, if we breakfast, in the morning when we get up, versus just checking in, it's like, am I hungry yet? No, I'm not quite hungry yet. Let me wait until I'm hungry. Then then that takes up much more space in the thinking brain than in just the routine brain. And so routines are actually very, very helpful. But routines are automatic. So once a routine starts, it just is kind of a loop that goes. And when we look at the science, we look at the cue that we can have, like smell of coffee, wants us to have some coffee. Or if I see my sneakers in front of my door, I might want to go take a walk. And so the cue helps me get into a routine. And then I have the routine that happens, and that can be positive or negative. That can, it's not qualitatively decided. That can be drinking your coffee or smoking or whatever, or going for a walk or drinking the water. It can go both ways. And then what comes after the routine, though, is the reward. How does that make us feel? And the more the reward, the better the reward, the better it feels to the brain, the easier a routine is established. And so they actually did study that. If you want to get yourself into an exercise routine, the best thing you can apparently do, if you like chocolate, is to have a piece of chocolate after you do the routine. And then the brain wants to have that routine again because it knows it's going to get the chocolate again. And so that they studied that. I did not believe it. And I don't like chocolate, so it might not work for me. But that you can definitely trick your brain. That's the other thing. You can work with your brain once you know. A brain needs to be under constant supervision, I heard once somebody say. And after I felt a little defendant going like, mine not, I'm always that. No. A brain is a child. A brain is always a child. So after you've done these 7 habit things, these 7 categories that we just went through, I have on the the page to the last page is I wanted you to write down, or you didn't have to, but that's what I intend to do, is have something that you can either add a habit or get rid of a habit in each of the categories. And below that, then I talk about, what is your, choose one habit, and then what is your reward for that habit that you want to do or want to either get rid of or add. And then what are some of the cues that you can have for that habit. And what I want to do now, we got 31 students here. So what I want to do for a few minutes, I want to break out into breakout rooms and see how that works. I've never done this before. And I want you to choose a habit that you're okay talking to other people about. And for about 5, I'm going to do 4 students a group, 3 students a group, I think, if I can make it. And for 5 minutes, I want you guys to talk amongst each other about what does that look like for a habit that you guys would like to choose. Does that sound all right? Gonna handle that? Good. Let me see if I can figure that out. Breakout rooms. No, we don't want 2 breakout rooms. We want to have 8 breakout rooms. All right, so I'm going to just do breakout rooms, and you guys work with each other And I'm gonna come around and hopefully this works. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. All right. Hello. Are you guys in a room? Okay. I'm trying to jump from room to room, but I don't. You still in the room, hon? Good. Are you guys talking in this room here? Hello.
this whole
How do I stop breakout rooms? Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Now I'm trying to figure out how to stop this thing. Are you guys still doing all right?
Yeah, we just left on our own, and it takes you back to the main room if they would leave.
Oh, join breakout room. No, I don't want to join breakout room right now.
Maybe you could join it and tell everybody, okay, you can leave and return.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, close all rooms. Okay, let me do that. All breakout rooms will close in 57 seconds. All right,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
So you guys do a little more, huh? I'll get used to this situation here.
We're back.
Yes. In the
We're
main,
back.
Are you in the main session?
Yes, main session.
Yeah, we
Good.
They all
That
coming
means
back
I'm in
now.
the main session. So let's
Yes,
see.
you are.
Yes, everybody's coming back now.
Oh boy, oh boy. I know. By the end of the semester, I know how the technology works.
Yay!
Good. Let's see. In 20 seconds, everybody's going to show up here, I think. They're coming in. They're coming in. All right. So was that helpful, actually? Was that okay to do that?
Yep.
Yeah, it was good to have like one-on-one time with the classmate. Little by little, we'll all get to know each other.
Yeah. And so, yeah, not too big is good, right?
Pass. So nothing to really have to remember.
I'm going to try to come up with some exercises for that. Maybe have some things each time. Okay, so let's see. Are you guys all back?
Yeah,
Yep.
Good.
Yes.
we are back, but you didn't go in our room, cheater.
No, I went to your room.
We didn't hear you.
It was quiet. You guys were just talking, so I was just going right back out.
Oh, well, whatever.
Okay, so everybody is back, I hope. Add room, create. How do I get rid of this room thing now? Oh my God. All right, let's just put it here.
What do you
Okay.
need help with?
Can you see if there is still a room open?
No,
Doesn't look like it, right?
no.
Few of my students are left, huh? Okay, so now as an exercise, so you don't have to upload anything for this assessment thing, but as an exercise, what I want us to do, and I mentioned it a few times, is for 1 month, I want us to either drink 2 quarts of water, that's 2 of those a day. That's actually what should be normal anyway. So I hope I'm not asking too much. Or meditate for 10 minutes. Now, what does that mean? When I get up in the morning, I try to sit on the couch and count to 50 breaths, focusing on my breath. That's 10 minutes of meditation right there. So that's as simple as that could be. Or it could be as elaborate as you're listening to somebody doing a guided meditation on YouTube or somewhere and just listening to some visualization. Or even just really listening attentively to some music. That's also good. Usually, classically, meditation is trying to focus on the breathing because that brings us sort of in the body and doesn't just let our brain space out. And our brain will space out. That is an absolute normal. Because what's important about these mindfulness things is not that we space out, but that we then, when we realize it, we gently bring our mind back into focusing on the breath. And so over time, we build neurons in our head, nerve cells in our head that are I forgot what it's called. They're more mindful, they're more positive for that. They're making us less be just in the moment and being all stirred and focused on one thing that often is stressing us out. So it makes us be able to step back a little bit more And so that's one of the exercises, 10 minutes of that. And then the third one is 30 minutes of walking during the day. And I used to say 10,000 steps, but we don't want to just walk around the house. We want to actually, if we can, take a walk when it's not smoky outside, and sort of, if possible, you know, be in nature or at least lose our thinking and our thoughts in that a little bit. It's kind of nurturing too to the body. So I want you guys to do, me included, do 2 of the 3 for 5 days a week. You don't have to take Saturday or Sunday off. It's just 5 days out of the week, whenever that is fine. And when you have done it, then I would like you guys to shoot me a text, or a group text, actually. I'm making 4 groups with about 10, 12 students in each group. Maybe I should make a little bit less. Maybe I'll make 6 groups with like 8 students or so in each group. And that way you don't get bombarded with a gazillion texts. But when you finish your exercise, your thing to do, then you tell me, I've done it. I've drunk 2 quarts of water. And how did it make you feel? Oh, I had to pee all night. It wasn't a good thing. Or I felt like much better because my body wasn't so achy. That's what I felt this morning. Just, you've done it, and what did it make you feel? It doesn't have to be positive. It can be negative. That's totally fine. But it's important to get into the feeling for a hot second. And it's also a good forum to say, like, hey, you know, this meditation thing, I just don't get it. What am I supposed to do with that? And then some of the group or me or so can shoot you over some YouTube links or something, or give some hints that might help a little bit. Or not. I'll say, like, you know, it's really hard for me too because I had a really, really busy day or something like that. Does that make sense?
Are we sending you a text every day? Or
Every day.
Okay.
5 days a week to the group.
I have a question.
By the end of the month, everybody's going to be tired of doing it, and then we stop. But the thing is, that gives us a little bit of a peer pressure thing, and we're trying to, you know, put that in a use that force as a positive force. It's nothing judgmental. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be positive. It can be. Oh, who's the question? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask if, do we need to take a picture to prove that we did it? Is that how you want us to do it, or just text it and letting you know exactly what we did?
Honor principle.
Okay.
You can totally cheat, but don't cheat. I will figure it out.
I'm not going to cheat. Trust me. I want to do it. I want to challenge myself.
There is also Santos has a question.
Yeah, but where? On Canvas or in the regular text message?
No, regular text message.
Okay.
Okay?
How we know which group we have?
I'm going to make the groups, and I'm going to shoot out a group text tonight, and then you just respond to that.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Also, did we start today or do we start this tomorrow? Because like I seen some people already start today, but I'm not sure if, you know, we officially start today.
They're overachieving. They're really good. No, we start officially tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because like, you know, don't drink the 2 quarts of water right before you go to bed. That's gonna make you wake up all night.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
thanks.
A tip on that, you know, start early in the morning, maybe do the first 4 early in the morning.
As per your text yesterday, you said it was officially today.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Officially is today.
Yes.
No, tomorrow. We're starting the 1st of
today.
September. We're going through September. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Santos, you have another question? Oh, the hand is up. How do I get rid of the hand? Huh. Oh, there it is. All right, good. Does that make sense? Yeah? No?
Yes.
Okay, good. And if you got a question, just ask me on text, and I'll clarify it. That's no problem. I hope the texting helps, right? That direct link to text, is that a good thing?
Yes, teacher, a question for you about chapter 3.
Okay.
I'm sorry, because I see in the schedule, the last day of we do an assignment is on September 6th. Is that true?
Yeah. So, yeah. Let me address that. I put the first 4 chapters. I think I put the due date as September 6th.
Yeah, that's my question, and I was thinking it's a lot of work.
It is. Ideally, you already start working on number 1 and number 2. Next semester, I'm not going to put 4 chapters in one day. I just did it because some people didn't get the booklet early, and I didn't want them to freak out and go like, oh my God, I'm so behind. But I realized, of course, then there is a lot of work through week 2. However, I leave the quizzes and the assignments open until the first test. So the due dates are they're due dates, but if you send in something late, I'm not going to punish you up to the first test, and then I take them out. Because then the material that we're covering after the first test is completely different, so it would be mute to. You want to use those quizzes to study for the test, basically. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So we don't have to do the chapter 3 this week.
Well, I think you should.
Okay.
Chapter 3 is organic chemistry, and
okay.
Chapter 1 is introduction, and then chapter 2, module 2 is inorganic chemistry. So that stops at page 26, and then organic chemistry comes up, and after that is cells, and that's the due date for next week is through the cell chapter. And so if you do everything all at once, it's definitely going to be a bunch of work. And then I think then the week after that, more or less, we're taking the test. And I think the test is going to be a few days, and you just take it throughout those few days whenever you want to. But the test is different than a quiz. The test you take one time, and I believe I'm going to put in an hour or 60 minutes or something for the timing.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the quizzes, it says that it's open until like October, right? But I have that our first test isn't soon.
I know.
Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not wrong. I left it open a little extra because it's easier for me to close it later to go sooner than bring it back out. And so I will adapt those dates. So don't go with the October date. Go with the first test.
Okay.
I want you to do the quizzes for the first booklet, which is all the way through tissues, by the test date of the first test. But having said that, some of you guys come straight out of high school, and in college, it's up to you much more to time yourself. So it's less up to me. So if you wait till the last minute, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt.
Okay.
Okay, so try to time yourself 2 chapters, more or less. We do 2 chapters, 2 modules each week.
Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Astrid. So I'm looking at the booklets right now, and I was wondering, is this the one we're starting with?
Yes, the number 1.
Okay. Okay.
First one. And you start with, you go with your phone, you get a barcode, you either to the lectures or to the in-class, and then you listen to the videos, you read through the booklets and look at the pictures, and then you do the quizzes and the concept assignments after you went through the material.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm, you're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I come from a sociology background, so taking notes is kind of different than a science class for me. So when I was looking through the booklets and I was watching your YouTube videos, I was wondering, how do you recommend taking notes? Because on the booklet, it has all of the definitions already. And in the video, it's just kind of going over the definitions and then like some other stuff. But like, how do you recommend taking notes in your class, or any science class for that matter?
Well, in this class, I've taken the notes for you.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried to do, is basically take all the ifs and buts and whens out of the material in a regular textbook and just sort of put bullet points down with the stuff that I want you to know. And so I think what I would do personally, I would get myself a deck of flashcards and write those things on flashcards, and then, go with this, where I explained to you the way to go through the material on flashcards to bring it into the brain and memorize it.
Okay. I actually like that, those boxes.
It's
I never
good,
thought
right?
about that.
Yeah, I learned these boxes in Switzerland. We had 5 hours of French a week for 7 years. And so, and I don't even remember French. But it was such a pain. And they taught us this flashcard system. It's actually from Germany. The psychologist devised it in the 70s. And it really works because you break down, you study the material you don't know, and you don't repeat the material you know all the time. And so it cuts down on study time.
So I bought at Office Max. They have like a container like this, and it has the sections already, and it comes with it. So it comes with the index cards. So then you already have your slots. I think it was like $13 at Office Depot. Yeah, and then they also have it on Amazon too, but Amazon was like $20. But yeah,
and it's a flashcard learning system.
Yeah, so it's probably about like this big if you look on Office Depot, and then it has the 5 slots.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can just go ahead and move it, and you have it in there. It's like plastic. I would go grab it, but it's in my kitchen.
Yeah. No, that's great. I have to look that up because I've never seen it.
I'll send you the link.
That would be great.
I'll take a picture. I'll send you the link of it. Yeah. When I went, I was trying to look for it because I was going to make one, but I was already there. And so I found it. I was like, perfect.
That's perfect. No, that's good.
Can you put that link in the group chat, Professor, or the other girl? Sorry, I don't know your name. I didn't catch your name.
Cassandra.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Can you guys put the link in the group chat?
Yeah, I'll look it up right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, traditionally it's 5 sections, and then I just broke it down to 4 because that seems to the way. Well, the 5th section I use for storage, basically. But on here, if you do, I have a little clip on here that I mean to, cut out and put it on clips, and that way, the repeat, like the first section do daily, the second twice a week, the third once a week. And then the 4th section I would do twice before the test. And then for me, the 5th section in chiropractic school, it used to be storage, where I just store everything. But I think, Senoid, I think that's, generally speaking, for science classes, I think when it's more about memorizing material versus doing original thought and thinking, like in sociology, I think that a flashcard system, or where you have a system at least where you have a finite amount of material in one little card versus a whole notepad where you write down a lot of stuff, and then you have to go through all the material again every time. I think that is somewhat sensible for a science class.
Yeah, I was really shocked to find, because this is my first science class since sophomore year of high school, which was 13 years ago. So it was really interesting for me to see it was just a lot of memorizing compared to like sociology, where it was more like you actually had to kind of memorize but also understand the theories, because if you didn't understand it, you would fail the class.
Right.
So it was I liked how
no, that is absolutely a difference, I think. Good.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think Quizlet would also be effective with learning it?
The app?
Yeah.
I've used it a little bit. Now, for me, writing something with my hands brings it more with the brain connection than typing it.
Okay.
Like if I type a letter or try to type out some thoughts, that's very helpful to type. But if I write it, if I have to rewrite a concept, it helps me already with the memorization process. But I think Quizlet is a good app. I would, if that's how you like to learn, I think that's great.
Since it's a cheaper option. I mean, some people are physical and some people are like.
Right. And, and again, you guys type much earlier in life than when I started school process. And so I think typing is probably different and more natural for you guys than it used to be for me, in at least how my brain works.
Okay.
So yeah, Quizlet is definitely a great app. I looked into it. All right. Anybody else? If not, raise up a hand. And other than that, I just want to know if there is anything that came from Quiz 2 or Module 2, if for the ones of you guys who've done that so far. If you guys came up with any questions at this point. No? Well, that's good. Or not good. That might mean you haven't done it yet. But that's okay. Next week, again, you can bring, questions up for the chapters up to first test every time we meet. And then once we go to the next section, it's all muscles and bones. So it's a totally different topic. The first few chapters are a little theoretical. They're all about the small stuff, especially chemistry, you know, can be a little bit tough and challenging. So make sure you spend a little bit of time on that and come up with the questions and make sure we can go into more detail if you like to, or if you feel like it's important for you to understand it. Once we reach cells, you know, then we get into the life stuff. It's a little easier to palpate that and feel that. And then once we get into the muscles and bones, it's definitely much more hands-on stuff. And maybe one thing that I just realized for chapter 1, you also have an assignment, and that comes out of the health kit tool thing. And that's the first thing here, which is the which is this handout, which is from chapter 1. So what I want you to do with that, and some of you already may have done it, I want you to fill that out with front and back. And then what you do is you take a picture of it, both sides, and then you upload it on the assignment as the picture. And then from there, I can see that I can give you a score for it. All right. And if you have questions doing that, just shoot me a text and we can figure out where to show you where that's been done.
Okay.
Okay. Good. All right. Any last thoughts of anybody, from anybody?
I have a question. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Next week on Monday will be Labor Day. Do we still have class to meet?
Oh, shoot. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I should hold class. If you're not on class, that's okay. We'll just shoot a video from it. And if some of you want to, or we can do a different day, but that might get a little tricky organizing all the students on a different day. And then we have the following day, we have some class as well. So yeah, I'm going to be in class. If you're free and you want to join and you have questions, then let's do so. But we're doing probably then a bit of a quicker one, more Q&A, and hold the exercise for the following week. Thanks for bringing that up. You're good. You got to keep being my canary in my coal mine. You got to remind me of these things. You're good. There was one more. Elise, I think.
Yeah, it was me. I was going back to the health kit. I was just asking the paper that you just held up because I'm going through my health kit. I didn't. Yeah, I'm missing it.
You have a section for labs, and with term lists, a couple of term lists, and then this in the front, the language of anatomy.
Oh. Sorry.
Got it?
Yep.
So yeah, the first is the language of anatomy. That's the first handout there. And then the other ones are sort of the integration labs that we do, like the lifestyle assessment and food counting and that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So one is my lab sheets got all mixed up. You don't by any chance have the ones that are just for this module up, do you? Like
the lab sheets for this module is just the language of anatomy.
Okay, perfect.
The term list 1 are the bones, and the term list, bones and muscles, and then the term list 2 are after the second exam, which is the heart, the brain, the blood, the spinal cord, the lungs, the digestive, and the reproduction, and the kidneys.
Okay.
So those are towards the end of the class for the third test.
Okay.
And then
on the test.
Huh?
The test, is it going to be multiple choice? Is it going to be essay? Is it going to be
No, the test, the first exam is no essays, please. I don't want to grade so many things. It's multiple choice, true, false only. Second test is a labeling test from the term list 1. So basically, you want to know all the terms on the term list 1. And then I have pictures, and you label what is the picture. And the third test is a combination of multiple choice and true, false, and some labeling.
So what's going to be the best way to prepare for that first test? If
For the first test?
Right. If we understand all of the quizzes.
Yeah, if you understand all of the quizzes, you're good.
Okay.
And I think it's probably good if you fairly familiar with the booklet 1, because it comes all out of that, and within an hour, I mean, you probably have enough. There's 55 questions, and I counted out of 50 for the grade. And so with the booklet next to you, you probably have an ability to do quite well.
So you said only true or false? So it's
true, false, and multiple choice.
And multiple choice.
And multiple choice is pick one. It's not choose all that apply. It's just pick the one that applies.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Going once, going twice, going 3. All right, guys. Thank you so much for paying attention and being in the class, and hopefully you're enjoying it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.